A lot of people think they're lazy, that they've lost their drive, that something in them shut off. They look at who they used to be, how much they could handle, how hard they could push, how long they could keep going, and they assume something is wrong now. But most of the time, it isn't laziness, it's burnout. Burnout doesn't always look dramatic. It doesn't always come with collapse. Sometimes it shows up quietly, as resistance, difficulty starting, a lack of motivation that doesn't respond to pressure, a body that feels heavy even when the mind wants to move. Burnout happens when effort goes on too long without enough recovery, when responsibility outweighs support, when survival becomes the default state, and eventually the system adapts by slowing everything down, not to punish you, but to protect you. This is the part people misunderstand. Burnout isn't weakness, it's the body saying, I can't keep doing this the same way. So energy drops, focus fades, desire pulls back. And instead of listening, many people push harder. They add pressure, they add self-criticism. They try to force motivation back into existence. But motivation doesn't respond to shame. And burnout doesn't resolve through discipline alone. What looks like procrastination is often exhaustion. What looks like avoidance is often overload. The system isn't refusing to work, it's asking for relief. This is why doing nothing can feel just as draining as doing everything, because the nervous system is still taxed, still alert, still carrying more than it can process. Recovery from burnout isn't about becoming productive again. It's about restoring capacity. That means fewer demands, lower expectations, more permission to move slowly. It means redefining progress, not by output, but by regulation. Can your body breathe more easily today? Can you stop earlier without guilt? Can you rest without needing a reason? These are signs of recovery, not failure. Burnout teaches you something important, even though it doesn't feel kind while it's happening. It shows you where your limits were ignored, where effort replaced care, where survival replaced sustainability. You don't heal burnout by becoming who you were before. You heal it by becoming someone who doesn't require constant self-sacrifice to function. Energy returns slowly, not all at once, in waves, in moments where doing a little doesn't cost everything. You don't need to push through this phase, you need to pass through it gently. Let the system recover its strength without demanding performance. You're not lazy. You're tired in a way that rest alone doesn't immediately fix. And that deserves patience, not judgment. This is part of the quiet work, learning to rebuild energy without punishing yourself for needing to slow down. For a long time, escape feels like relief. Distraction, noise, movement, anything that pulls you out of your own head. And when life feels heavy, escape makes sense. It gives the nervous system a break when the present feels overwhelming. The problem isn't escape itself, the problem is when escape becomes necessary. When a life is built in a way that can't be tolerated without constant distraction. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They try to remove coping mechanisms before changing the conditions that made coping necessary in the first place. And that creates shame. Because without escape, they're left alone with a life that still feels too loud, too demanding, too misaligned. Building a life that doesn't require escape isn't about becoming more disciplined. It's about becoming more honest. Honest about what drains you, Honest about what overstimulates you. Honest about what you've been tolerating instead of choosing. Escape often shows up where boundaries are missing, where expectations are too high, where recovery time doesn't exist, where your system is asked to give more than it can restore. So the work isn't to cut everything out. The work is to adjust the structure of your life so it doesn't constantly push you past your limits. A life that doesn't require escape has room to breathe. It has margin. It has pauses built in. Not every day is optimized. Not every moment is productive. There's space for the nervous system to settle before it becomes overwhelmed. This kind of life often looks quieter than what we're taught to want. Fewer extremes, fewer emergencies, less constant stimulation. And at first, that can feel like loss, because intensity once made you feel alive. But over time, something steadier replaces it. Presence, consistency, a sense that you don't need to disappear to get through the day. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect. Stress still exists. Hard moments still happen. But they don't require an exit strategy anymore. You don't need to numb out. You don't need to run ahead mentally. You don't need to abandon yourself to survive your own life. A life that doesn't require escape is built slowly, through small choices, through saying no earlier, through resting before exhaustion, through choosing environments that don't constantly activate your system. It's built by listening instead of overriding, by designing days your body can actually live inside of. This isn't a dramatic transformation. It's subtle, quiet, and deeply stabilizing. One day you notice you didn't need to escape tonight. Another day you realize silence doesn't feel so threatening anymore. And slowly the urge to disappear fades. Not because you forced it, but because you no longer need it. This is the deeper layer of the quiet work. Not fixing yourself, not enduring life, but shaping something sustainable. A life you can stay present in, a life you don't need to run from. And that, more than anything, is real healing. There's a point in healing where nothing feels wrong. But nothing feels better either. No crisis, no breakthrough, no clear sign that anything is changing. And that can be unsettling, because we're taught to look for progress in visible ways. Big shifts, clear milestones, a feeling of arrival. But most of the changes that matter don't announce themselves. They happen quietly, in places you don't think to measure. Progress shows up as fewer emotional spikes, as a quicker return to baseline, as moments where something that once triggered you barely registers anymore. And because it's subtle, it's easy to miss. The mind starts asking, is this working? Shouldn't I feel different by now? Why does it feel so uneventful? But uneventful is often the point. When the nervous system is healing, it isn't trying to impress you, it's trying to stabilize, to reduce effort, to conserve energy, to stop reacting to everything as if it's urgent. That kind of progress feels boring because chaos once felt familiar. Intensity once meant you were alive. So when life becomes steadier, the mind mistakes calm for stagnation. But calm isn't empty. It's regulated, it's spacious, it's a sign that your system no longer needs to stay on edge to survive. Invisible progress shows up in how you respond, not in how you perform. In the pause before reacting. In the choice to rest instead of push. In the ability to sit with discomfort without needing to escape it. These changes don't feel dramatic, they feel normal. And that's how you know they're integrating. Healing that sticks doesn't feel like transformation. It feels like returning to a steadier version of yourself, one that doesn't require constant effort to maintain. This is why comparing timelines is so damaging. You can't see the internal adjustments someone else has already made. And you can't rush your own without destabilizing what's rebuilding. Growth isn't linear, it's cumulative. Small shifts stacking quietly until one day you realize you're living differently without trying to. Letting progress be invisible means trusting the process even when it doesn't give you proof. It means continuing not because you feel inspired, but because the system is responding in ways you don't immediately notice. You don't need to monitor every change. You don't need to audit your healing. You don't need to constantly ask if you're doing it right. If your days feel a little steadier, if your reactions feel a little softer, if your body feels a little less tense, then something is working, even if it doesn't feel like progress yet. Especially then. This is part of the quiet work, letting change happen without demanding evidence, trusting that what's integrating doesn't need to be seen to be real.